Alright, hello everybody. Today for you a book review. First up, our tape of the day is going to be Pantera's Vulgar Display of Power. I saw Phil Anselmo live. He opened for Slayer, and it was cool. I do wish I had like maybe Cowboys from Hell, because I think that one might be, I like that one a little bit more than this one, but it's cool to have a pretty nice kick-ass Pantera cassette. But today we are going to be talking about Stephen King. We're going to be talking about The Institute. So, quick synopsis. This book follows, it's kind of Firestarter-esque. It follows this kid who is like kind of, he's exceptionally smart, and he might have some sort of secondary powers there. But his parents get murdered and he gets kidnapped and taken to this place called the Institute, where there are a bunch of other kids who have powers. Think about like the Breakers in the Dark Tower series. It's kind of that situation. And basically they kind of try to figure out how to escape everything. This one was a lot of fun. I've always really enjoyed how Stephen King writes child characters. I mean, like, I love It. I love, what else has a kid character? I mean, like Jake in the Dark Tower series. I think he does a really good job with them. And this one gave us, a whole cast of them. This was all kids, and I think Luke was maybe like 12 or 13. I think about that old. He was a young teenager. But it was, a whole cast. I think they were aged maybe like 5 to like 16 or 17. So that was really cool. We got a whole cast of them. Nicky was my whole heart. I loved him so much. He was the character that I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy, especially a lot of younger people, because he is kind of that typical, kind of like, he's the rebellious kind of character, and I think a lot of people are really going. I really did. So there was that. It was honestly horrifying in a lot of ways, because these kids, when they're taken to this institute, they are treated awfully, and the way that the employers of the institute would treat them, whether it was because they were on a power trip or because they were just kind of deluded into thinking that these kids weren't actually, like people, was just, it was horrifying. It was like I said, like, they were either genuinely evil people, or it was like they were just didn't even, it was like it was too much of a job for them. And you're like, I can understand, things like, like, okay, it's a job, you punch in, you punch out, what happens in between, just like as long as you keep getting paid. But when your job does include things like actual human children lives, it's intense. It's like, if you think about how awfully some prison guards treat the prisoners, kind of thing, but take that a step further, because these are kids who didn't do anything wrong except be born with like special powers. The writing, as always, I mean, Stephen King's books always get a 5 out of 5, not a 5, a 3 out of 5 for writing alone from me. Like, Stephen King's writing is like home at this point, because I've read so many of his books that it's like it just feels so natural, like the writing style does. I think I've read his words more than anybody else's. Like, the only people who have probably gotten closer are like Aaron Hunter and R.L. Stine, but that's just because they wrote a million books, so the writing feels like home. So there's that. It's not a major favorite. I don't think this is going to be one where I kind of want to reread it every 3 months. I haven't had a major favorite from Stephen King book in a while, I don't think, which is a little sad. I do kind of know always that I do prefer the older ones over the newer ones. When he was just completely off his face on cocaine was like the most fun Stephen King books you've ever gotten. So he's not anymore, because he's an old man who has gotten past that point in his life. But he's still a good writer, but the newer ones I just don't feel as much. They're just not as fun. They're still really fun. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. I don't tend to like them as much as I like the older ones. There is a lot of Dark Tower implications, not direct Dark Tower connections, but like I mentioned before with the Breakers in the shop, it's like the idea there's so many things in this book that remind me of so many things in the Dark Tower series, kind of the expanded universe, that really make me wonder about a lot of things. And so I do think that there are some very heavy Dark Tower implications for this book, and I do like that a lot. I think that's really cool. um Always down for more Dark Tower implications. I mean, I've got to reread the Dark Tower, man. I've got so many copies of various books in the series in the book wallet. I know I've got a couple of the Drawing of the Three. I've got Wolves of the Kala. I'm pretty sure I have Wizard and Glass in there somewhere too. I have a bunch of them in there, and I feel like I need to reread the series like from front to end again, because I think I've read the series front to end twice, but I've read various books in the series random multiple times. But no, there are a lot of Dark Tower implications in this one that I am interested in kind of exploring further, thinking about further. But overall, it's a good story with interesting in-universe implications. Like I said, it's not gonna be my favorite. I did really enjoy it though. I really liked the cast. I really liked how they interacted with each other. I thought it was a really interesting cast put in a really interesting situation, and I enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. That is all I have for today. I will talk to you later.